At nearly 43 years old, I am what you would consider here in America to be a loser. I've never owned a home. I've never owned a vehicle. I don't have a relationship with my kids. I'm in debt. I'm behind on child support. I am the dusty, crusty man that the women online are always telling people to avoid. However, because I keep in shape, because I look a certain way, and because I know how to lay pipe, I get attention from women. But if I didn't do any aesthetic training, any looks maxing, I would be an incel, angry ass incel like so many men on this internet. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I am a loser. I spent all of my 20s with my family, working, go nowhere jobs, bringing whatever money I can into the house. At one point, I was a manager of a Blockbuster for about 5 years, which brought in a good amount of money. And once I lost that job, I had a couple other go nowhere jobs after that. And eventually, me and my kid's mom split. And I ended up out here in Vegas, living on my own for a little bit. And eventually, I got into another relationship that went nowhere, ended up on the streets, and yada yada yada. Still working the same dead end job I've had for the last 3 years. It is what it is. Now, I'm saying making this video not to be depressing, not to say, oh, woe is me. I'm making this video to say that despite the fact that by every metric here in America, I am what you would consider to be a loser. Nobody wants to end up like me, okay? I'm okay with it. I am happy with myself. I am happy with my life. I don't have a lot of regrets. The only regrets I do have are more personal regrets, not anything that has been like a major effect on my life. Like I appreciate the relationships I did have with even my kid's mom. Appreciate the relationships I've had with prior girlfriends. I appreciate the jobs that I've had that I've learned stuff from, even though they were go nowhere jobs. Even though places like Blockbuster went right into the ground, I got experience being an assistant manager there. Even going into the army and being a deserter like I am, they did teach me how to fight. They did teach me how to shoot. They did teach me a lot of things that did stick with me over time. So even that, I don't regret. But, there are times where I spent a lot of time on the game. There's a lot of time I spent smoking weed. There's a lot of times I spent watching pornography. Okay. I think that my last relationship, especially, ended because, or I know it ended because of lack of intimacy, because I stopped having sex with that woman. Like, come full stop having sex with that woman, and just pretty much started pleasing myself with pornography. And I had no problem with it. And eventually, that relationship that became a strain on our relationship, and we ended. That's a big part of why my last major relationship ended, and I ended up on the street. If I'm being completely honest with y'all. So when I look back on certain things, the things that I regret are more so the time I spent wasting my own time playing stuff like Destiny for a couple years, um, 12, 18-hour days didn't do anything for me. I mean, I obviously don't live in regret about it, but I look back on that and I see so many young people who spend a lot of time in these modern games, trying to chase the purple dragon of fame or be the next big streamer. They added another level of addiction on top of what video games are. And not everybody can be the next Kai Cenat or any of these big streamers that are young and making a lot of this money. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but through gaming and through just getting on here, it's not necessarily likely. And if you literally want to make some money in the future, start focusing on a career that is going to bring in some dividends. Like one of the things that I wish that I could go back and tell myself, especially about the dead end jobs I used to work, is to take your ego out of it. I've worked at Chipotle, I've worked at Target, I've worked at Walmart a couple times, I've worked at McDonald's, I've worked at so many different freaking places. JC Penney, freaking there used to be a store in the mall called Anchor Blue. I've worked at a adult video store. I've worked at GameStop. I've worked at Starbucks. And the one thing I wish I can go back and tell myself is to pick one of those places and just stay there. They're all going nowhere right now, but eventually they'll become something because you're just there. You go from one dead end job to another dead end job, you're always resetting the clock. You go from McDonald's to Burger King, you're resetting the clock. You go from, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that these jobs are gonna, make you a $1 trillion, but let's say years ago I would have stayed at, let's say, even just something like Target. By now I would be making a good 5, 6 figures just from being in the company. You understand what I'm saying? Even with Walmart, there are ladies there that are making a good amount of money because they just stayed and got that little annual raise, never promoted, never went out. They just stayed at the same, what we would consider go nowhere. Y'all see those little Asian ladies working in the cosmetic department. A lot of them make pretty good money because they've been with the company for so long and just took those little bit of raises over time. But when you look at those little raises over time, you're like, oh, that's not a lot of money. But right now, they're okay. Right. And I'm not saying that this is to have job security, but they don't offend enough to actually even necessarily lose their job, even though Walmart is about to lay off a whole bunch of people. We're not here to talk about that. We're just talking about being a loser. You go to a lot of these retail places, and I've worked a lot of these places, and people look down on you. And I think that's why I never stuck with a lot of these people. They look at you as nothing or less than because you're working retail. And that's one of the things that I hate about this country. People use the services every day of Walmart, Target, these different restaurants, McDonald's, but look down on the workers that serve them there. They look down on the cashiers. They look down on the customer service representatives. They look down on the barista or the cashier that's serving your food because y'all look at that as like a low skill job, even though this person has to compromise a good part of their integrity, even to serve some of these belligerent ass customers. Y'all understand? I work in a restaurant, so we don't get as many belligerent customers because people have to sit in there and eat. But when I did work fast food, I know, and I work customer service at Walmart, I know that sometimes people, especially when they're only going to be in there for a few minutes, can come in there and use you as their punching bag to take out whatever woes the life is putting on them on you, or at least try to, because I don't tolerate that shit. I don't care where I work. But I go back and I look at myself and I would be so beat myself up and be in my ego about, oh man, I'm just a cashier. I need to get on these cartoons. I need to do this. I need to do that, and feel like a loser within myself, especially when you start falling behind more and more on child support, and you lost your license, you can't drive, you know what I'm saying, you taking a bike to work, you're in your late 30s, early 40s, you kind of feel like fuck. And at some point you have to accept the fact, and I'm talking about you being me, I had to accept the fact that this is the position I am in life, right? I put myself here. Okay. So what now? Do I beat myself up? Do I let the outwardly appearance affect what my inner feelings are? This dark despair, uh, hateful um, uh, feel I have about myself. Do I let that shine outwardly? Do I just let myself go? I stop working out? Do I stop focusing on my cartoons? Do I stop focusing on making content? What do I do? Do I just accept my fate? And the thing is, no. One of the things I have to accept is life is life. Life is never going to be exactly what you want it to be. Okay, it's never going to be exactly what you plan it to be. When I was with my kid's mom, I plan on being with her forever. You understand what I'm saying? But once she fell out of love with me, I don't think that I had a plan mentally, emotionally, or spiritually on how to navigate this life alone. And so when I had to hit the streets and navigate this life alone, it was one of the biggest obstacles was dealing with myself and beating myself up for feeling like a loser, beating myself up for not having a successful family, for not seeing my kids, for not being able to be there with my kids all the way up until they were adults. To see that I had been out of work at that point for about damn near 2 years, coming out here instantly getting a job, right? But also seeing that more than half of my check will be gone. These are all things that I had to deal with, not just inside, but obviously with the money not adding up, I had to also figure out a way to survive out here as well. You understand? All of these layers of things. And I look back on that and I'm like, yo, all that made me stronger. All that made me better. Okay. And that's why I don't have a lot of regrets. Everything that I've talked about thus far has made me a better person because of it. And just made me learn things about myself and how to navigate even some of my own vices. Like I mentioned earlier, video games, pot, pornography. I know those things are the bee's knees for me. And if I allow myself, I can get lost in any one of those things at any moment in time. So I have to indulge either not at all or sparingly. It's just what it is. When I play video games, I have to pick something that's simple, something that's gonna scratch that itch real quick, something that's not gonna draw me in, where I'm not focused on anything else in life at the moment, especially my projects and everything I'm trying to work on, my videos and all that is gonna take me away from that. I have to avoid those type of games. If the weed is too strong, right? Because we have some really strong weed out here, really strong weed. A lot of times I'll get 60 something, 59, 60% THC in just a pre-roll, smoke it and just be dead. Just be done the whole fucking day. Last weekend, for instance, I slept the whole not last weekend, 2 weekends ago, I slept the whole weekend away, higher than a kite off of hitting a pre-roll a couple times. What's the solution? less strong pre-rolls. Okay, I can still be mellow. I can still be chill. I don't have to be comatose all day. And as far as the pornography, avoid it, especially like I'm seeing somebody. So sex is a regular occurrence. There's no reason for me to like self-soothe. I'll keep it like that. You know what I mean? But sometimes you do. You'll go on Instagram, and Instagram can trigger those feelings to where you like, you know what, I got to get a nut off real quick. Instagram be having some sexy shit. I'm just being honest with y'all where I am, bro. Right? We going into damn near 43 years old right now, and I'm very self-aware about about who and what I am. But I keep seeing so many young people beating themselves up in they're 25. They're 26, okay? I haven't accomplished nothing. I'm a loser. I'm this, I'm that. And I can understand that, especially if they've never had a girlfriend. I think one of the biggest reasons I don't feel like such a complete loser is because I was in a relationship with she I keep calling her my kid's mom, but she was pretty much my wife at the time for damn near 20 years. So I don't feel like I was a loser. I had a family. I got 3 kids that are my daughter is about to be an adult. She's about to be 18 in next week. So I don't feel like I missed out on that part. I got to see, especially my oldest, grow into a young adult. And I don't feel like a loser in that aspect where I missed out on that. Whereas a lot of, especially young men and even young women in a late 20s, early 30s who have never been in a relationship, never had a boyfriend, never had a girlfriend, definitely don't have no kids, probably are still virgins who feel like, damn, I've never had a relationship. I've never had a good job. I don't have an education. They feel like they're losing that life. I get that. I do understand that. But even for them, they're not losers, bro. This is what this system has put on us. They put this arbitrary number on us and say you have to accomplish this by this time. That is not true. The parameters that may facilitate the life that you want to live may not be there at the moment for you. And you may be in your 20s and you may want a family and you may want a house and a wife and kids and all those good things, but then it may not be available to you at this time. They may not just be available to you this time. That doesn't mean that they won't be available to you at another time, right? It's just that during this time, you have to endure. You have to get through this. You have to use this as a lesson to learn who you are, just as I did in all of those different failures that I described earlier. They taught me something about myself. And even in being in solitude, I learned a lot. I'm learning a lot about who I am as a person and what I want, what I'll tolerate, what I won't tolerate, who I want around me, who I don't want around me, who my people are, who are not my people. You understand? This is all from being by myself. This is all from even just putting out the content that I put out there and seeing who reacts to it, see who comes in and engages with it from my real life. It all teaches me something, right? So if you're going through something right now, you're 35, 36 years old, you've never really had a real relationship, you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have it, the best thing I can honestly tell you to do, especially if you're a man or a woman, the best thing I can tell you, just gonna sound superficial as fuck, but we live in a superficial world, is work on your looks. Work on how the fuck you look. Make yourself sexy. And I'm talking specifically now to men, because women can get away with women can get away with finding a partner if they really want to, without putting in a whole lot of effort, right? But I would even tell them, if y'all are having issues, especially some of you overweight women out there, and you've never had a boyfriend and stuff, and you in your late 20s or early 30s, I know y'all don't want to hear this because y'all have been conditioned that this is fat phobic. Lose some fucking weight. That's all you got to do. A lot of y'all women are fucking cute as shit. It's just that a lot of men are not into big women. And if y'all got some pounds off, men will probably approach y'all and want to be with y'all too. But I'm going to the men. I'm about to beat up on the men. A lot of the men that I see that are in a early to mid 30s that have said they've never had a relationship. They've never been able to accomplish nothing that they want to accomplish. They've only been in their 20s playing video games and being on the internet and gooning, beating off. They have a certain look about them. They look malnourished. They look like they need a cookie, right? Or they're somewhat overweight. They don't have no skincare routine. They don't look sexy. It looks like if you was to go down on them, it'll smell like salami. I'm just being honest, right? So I can understand why women are repulsed, right? But they'll get on here and say, "Oh, I'm a loser. I haven't done this." Well, you haven't taken no effort into putting it yourself. What makes you a loser is not trying, right? I try. I may fall on my face, but I fucking try. And if you've been following me on this goddamn channel, you see that I try. I fucking try. I try my best. I haven't missed a day of work. I haven't even missed a day of work this year. Even after my dad died, I didn't miss work. Okay. I try. I work out every fucking day to keep a certain aesthetic because I know if I don't look a certain way, I know if I can't lay pipe, ain't nobody trying to deal with me. Even the women that say that they love me ain't trying to deal with me if I fall off, if I get sick, right? Damn, don't let me be sick, fucking broke, fucking, in debt and not look a certain way. Oh, I'm done. I'm done ski. I'm just being a realist. So you men that get on here talking about I'm not getting this attention, make yourself a viable option. Make yourself that something that people, women, want to touch. You know what I'm saying? That they want to give themselves to if that's your issue. I'm just bringing that out there because that when we talk about these loser videos and what we didn't accomplish at this point, especially when it comes to men always bring up women because y'all are our focus. I mean, we're not gonna lie. We do a lot of what we do in this world because of women. I don't think half the men would feel like losers if women didn't exist to be there to judge us for what we haven't accomplished by a certain point. Just being honest with you, that's society. And if you're my age, 43, a lot of women will expect you to have some assets, and they're not wrong for expecting that. They will expect you to have your own car. They're gonna definitely expect you to at least have your own place, if not own your own place. These are not unrealistic things because these are the conditions that have been put on us. I believe that by the time I'll be 42, damn near 43, I would own these things, that my career would be here and there, and I would be this and that. I'm none of those things. The only thing that I am is I am a lot more stoic and stronger than I ever thought I could be. I can take on more than I ever thought I can take. Growing up, there's a lot of things that I have endured that I never believed that I can endure. And that's what makes me not feel like a loser, despite the lack of material wealth that I possess, despite the fact that I don't have this great career, despite the fact that I haven't put out a lot of my cartoons, or that I'm constantly stagnant, or not stagnant, but procrastinating on when stuff is released and all this other stuff. These are the things I beat myself up about, but that don't make me a fucking loser. I'm living life. I treat people the way I want to be treated. I navigate this world being the best person that I can be, doing the best I can to accomplish what I need to accomplish when I can accomplish it. I try. May not always get the results that I want, but I try. So even though by, like I say, all the standards, I may be a loser, I don't feel like a loser. I honestly feel like a motherfucking winner, right? Especially when I get on here and I see some of the takes that people have about certain events and things that are going on. And I think to myself, damn, a lot of times I feel like this darkness in my heart. And I honestly feel like this evil, bitter person just because of what I feel. Not what I say, not how I treat people, not how I navigate the world. I'm saying what's the inner demon in me. But then I see how people outwardly treat people, how they outwardly let the demon out. I'm like, no, I'm not so bad. I'm fighting my shit. I'm doing what I can to be the best version of I can of me that I can be. So that if I am privileged enough to stand before God, I can say, I tried. You are not a loser because you're 29, 30, 40, and you haven't accomplished some arbitrary goal that was probably planted into your brain to what you needed to accomplish to be a quote unquote winner. Because a lot of the winners that are always online are always on here talking about what you need to do, what you should do, or how they got here or how they got there. They haven't fixed the world, have they? The world is still shit, right? For all of these geniuses that know everything, they haven't accomplished, fixing world hunger or curing diseases or stopping government corruption, none of that. But they speak, they talk like as if they know everything, as if their lives are perfect, as if they haven't had any pitfalls. And for people like that, I can't take them seriously. Just like a lot of the people who have never had kids that want to get on here and talk about how you need to parent your kids. I don't listen to that because you've never raised kids. People that have never been in relationships telling people how, or have only had 6-month relationships telling people how to be in long-term relationships is crazy to me. But that's what the internet is. That's what people do. Those people are losers to me. I don't care how much money they make. People that want to use this recent assassination of Charlie Kirk to try to divide the country even more, to have a civil war, those are losers. People that don't have foresight enough to see that death begets death, violence begets violence, those are losers to me. I'm sorry, I live in the hood. Every time the siren go off, I tell y'all that. Those are the losers to me. The people that want to burn society down, the society that they live in, and hope without any idea of what to replace this society with, loser. Straight loser. How do you deal with those people? You have to live amongst them because it is what it is. But for all of y'all that get on here, it's like, oh, I'm not this. I haven't went to school yet. I haven't done that. just know that at any moment in time, you can die. I know that sounds crazy, right? At any moment of time, you can die, and none of it will matter. Your name will be forgotten whether you accomplish everything that you want to accomplish or nothing at all. You still will be lost to the annals of history amongst the billions of people that have come before you, that will come during you, and that will come after you. It doesn't matter to a certain degree. What you're trying to do is improve who you are as a person and find some level of homeostasis or comfort within your own skin without worrying about how the rest of the world perceives you. As long as you're not hurting nobody, you fine. You great. You gravy. You understand? As long as you're trying, you good. You're not a loser, bro. You're not. And I'm saying this to anybody because there's so many people. So many people, oh, I haven't done this. I haven't done this. Still live with my parents. Well, just try something. The moment you start trying is the moment you stop being a fucking loser. You know what I mean? You're gonna make all this money. That don't mean you're gonna be the sexiest thing walking. It just means that you're doing your best to be the best version of you. That's all that matters. And at that point, the only person that you need to answer to, and the only person that you should be concerned with their opinion of you, is yourself and God. That's it. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have a happy Friday. I am really considering taking a hiatus from this channel for a little bit, not just this channel, but from the internet. I am woefully disgusted by a lot of the things that I am seeing online, not just through videos, but even through my comment sections. This is becoming less and less fun for me to do, um, mostly because I see that there's a lot of people that take content so seriously that they're willing to commit crimes over it, right? And we've seen that this year happen a couple times. I'm not just talking about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, because I honestly believe that was deeper than just some internet beef or somebody didn't like what he said. I think that is some state level stuff. But even just the different acts of violence we've been seeing throughout the year, you just never know when your time's going to come up. And I've seen people using these different acts of violence as ways to push their political narratives. Um, I hate that. I hate it. I just don't like it. This whole left-right paradigm thing is the dumbest shit possible. Liberals, conservatives, it's dumb. It's the dumb thing to draw a line in the sand where you literally say, I'm on this side or this side of politics, when I can like some things that the people on the left say. I can like some things that people on the right say and still be a whole human being, right? I don't have to dedicate everything that I stand for on the principles of the right or the left. That is what puppets do. And this country is full of fucking puppets who pick a side, I'm on this side, I'm on this side, I'm on this side. And they attack you from that position because they've picked their side and they've dug their toes in the sand, right? They've said that I'm right because I feel this way. You're wrong because you feel that way. Therefore, we are enemies. Absolutes that are only going to be destructive to whatever cause that they hope to convince you of, right? Because ultimately, because we're firing daggers at each other, we will become enemies. We're not hearing each other anymore. And that's what's happening in this country right now with these leftards, these retarded right wingers. They're clashing because their ideologies are diametrically opposed, because they've been programmed to think one way or the other. People lack foresight in this country, and those are the real losers to me. When you get on here as a leftist and let them tell you that as a black person you can't be racist, when the definition of racism is to discriminate against somebody because of their race, you're dumb. You're falling right into the trap, and you repeat these talking points that is going to anger people that know, who probably experienced racism from a black person. And you're going to have these legions of black people saying we can't be racist, all the while calling these people male monkeys, fucking Neanderthals, whatever white pejorative you could come up with for white people. I've seen it, and these people don't get punished for it. They don't get nothing for it. So what does that do? It stokes the flames of the right wing. And what does the right wing do? They come up with their propaganda. Say, look at these niggers. They are never da. We're the oppressed. They always talk about the white man can't do that. Because why? The white man, if he sits there and he called these people that's calling him a male monkey a nigger, he's gonna get banned. So he's gonna feel oppressed, right? It's a game. And a lot of people, especially a lot of black people, don't have foresight. We see what's shiny, We see what's gold, and we see what glitters and believes is gold, even though it can be shit wrapped up in a fucking gold foil fucking wrapper. We look at it as actual gold, right? So when we're presented with something like Black Lives Matter, and we let them do exactly what they were doing in a lot of these different cities by being destructive in the name of our cause. When we sit up there and say we have a right to tear down this X, Y, and Z, lacking foresight, you don't realize that that pendulum is going to swing the other way. And because you justified racism, because you justified destruction, the right now the pendulum's on the other side. Now they're able to justify destruction. Now they're able to justify injustice. You understand how this works? Same thing with this Charlie Kirk thing. You may not have liked him. He may have been racist, right? Kill him, right? You because of his words, right? So we say, okay, there's people online literally clapping. There are literally people condemning me. I lost so many goddamn subscribers because I said rest in peace to that man, right? Because people lack foresight, right? They say, okay, well, fuck him, blah, blah. I say, I didn't like him either. The point being, y'all assassinate him on TV, that pendulum's gonna swing in the other direction. Now it justifies them taking out one of your guys. And because you celebrated that man's death, you can't be mad when they celebrate the death of one of yours. You see, violence begets violence. That's how this works. It's never been, oh, okay, you kill this person, then that's it. That now we can go on and get. No, that's not how that works. And as an assassin, you only have control up to where the book to when you pull the trigger, right? And you hit your target. You don't have control over how the world reacts. You don't have control over what policy gets made out of, especially a political assassination. You don't have control over what comes of your actions. I mean, honestly, look at the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. I'm pretty sure John Wilkes Booth was like, I'm gonna kill this man. We're gonna put these niggas back in chains. That's not what happened. Because a lot of times the cause is bigger than the figureheads. People say Trump needs to get up out of here. But what's the MAGA movement and everything is bigger than him. You understand? So even if he wasn't here, the movement still exists. You get what I'm saying? Somebody mentioned the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand, right? Back in the early 1900s. Nobody would have thought that that would have led to the first World War, right? A random freaking Archduke being assassinated, you know, before their political ends ended up in this conflict that cost the lives of millions. As an assassin, you can take out a person and believe that it's helping your cause, but you don't have control over what comes out of the assassination of the person. The assassination of Martin Luther King, the assassination of Malcolm X turned them into martyrs. For all of the racist people that hated them, I'm pretty sure they didn't think that, okay, we're going to kill this nigga and he's going to get a street named after him in every major city in the country. You don't get to control the outcome. Only stupid losers believe that you can kill your way, kill political opponents to push your cause. No, a lot of times you're only going to make martyrs out of the people that you kill, and it's going to make the political cause that you're going up against even stronger. The right wing base in this country is galvanized and stronger because of the death of Charlie Kirk. And the people on the left, especially the black leftists, are too short-sighted. Like Amanda says, I don't have no sympathy for them. If you don't, just don't say anything at all, stupid, because what you're doing is you're inciting hatred. And the people that are going to be, that don't have nothing to do with none of these debates, that are probably not even following politics, are going to be the victims of people like y'all constantly getting on here laughing that a man got shot in the neck in front of his fucking kids because y'all lack empathy, right? Because y'all say, okay, good, he's gone. But now next, like I say, watch out for your favorites. Watch out for your favorite leftist commentators who literally claim the left, because that left right shit is so stupid. If you didn't claim a side, there wouldn't be easy targets to pick. You just have points, and people just have to fight the points. I'm not a conservative. I'm a person that's concerned with the state of my country. I'm not a liberal. I feel that everybody should have equal rights. Does that make sense? You both can exist at the same time, but people are so small-minded. The real losers in this world to actually see that their destructive rhetoric and ideologies can be a hindrance to everybody. But meanwhile, we're talking about money, even though the powers that be is taking more and more money about this motherfucking economy. This is all a distraction. This is all to keep us at each other's throats. This is all to keep us judging each other and on these little different tier systems saying, I have more than you, or I'm better than you because this is that. Meanwhile, the powers that be, are hurting us all through the same pen. We're all sheep, we're all cattle, all of us. I don't care if you're a poor person, I don't care if you're a middle class person, I don't care if you're a rich person. If you're not hyper rich, if you're not in the billions, you're sheep too. They control you just as much. In fact, they even tax you more than most of us anyway. We're all controlled on some level, some way, shape, or form. Okay. And a lot of it, when we beat ourselves up about being losers, is because the indoctrination has been put into our heads is telling us we're not working hard enough, we're not doing hard enough to serve the machine, we're not enough. But I'm here to tell you that you are enough. And if you want to feel like enough in yourself, work on yourself for yourself. And that is it. Not for the world, not for any of this, because as you can see, the world is fucking crazy. They're gonna pick a side and they're gonna fucking kill each other. Let them do that, and you work on yourself. I'm gonna work on myself, and we're gonna have a Merry Christmas. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, happy Friday. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, bye bye.